Are you a heart-centered, compassionate leader? Are you fully leveraging your strengths to make the biggest impact? Or does your self-doubt stand in your way from realizing your full potential? Maybe you're unassertive and just can't quite get the nerve to ask for that promotion or take a risk on that new business opportunity. In this episode, I'm going to give you 5 steps to boost your confidence, increase your influence, and become the leader that you were meant to be. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell button to get notified for new episodes each week. I'm Maria Neizvestnaya, founder of EXECUTIVECRAFT, and welcome to my channel, a place for heart-centered leaders. As leadership and executive coach, I am passionate about emotional intelligence, mindfulness, and transformational leadership training. My clients gain confidence, increase influence, and become fully empowered. Are you ready to elevate your leadership? The way you perceive yourself and relate to yourself defines who you are as a leader. Your confidence comes from well-balanced self-regard. Self-regard is our ability to respect ourselves, both personal strengths and limitations. When you lead with confidence, you create a secure base for your team. You have a grounded and empowering presence, and you can bring your vision and ideas to life. And if you're a compassionate leader, your influence is much needed in the world right now. You cannot serve other people from the place of self-doubt, resentment, or fear. So, ready to dive in? Step 1. Harness the power of your strengths. This step has 2 parts to it. First, know your strengths. This can be tricky, especially if your self-regard is not in the best place right now. You might hear that voice in your head ask, "What do you mean by strengths? I don't have any strengths." If this is the case, you definitely need to explore further. Remember the situation from your past when you were at your best. This situation can be within any context: professional, sports, arts, hobby, anything that you choose. What were some of the qualities that helped you to succeed? You can also ask people who know you well what they think. Ask them, what are your top 5 strengths? Stay open and curious in this process. Finally, there are strengths assessments available that help you to identify your strengths. The second part, to harnessing your strengths, is to actually act based on your strengths. In a challenging or difficult situation, when you feel stressed, ask yourself, what strength am I not using right now? You can also try choosing one of the strengths for a week and intentionally practice it. The more you pay attention to your strengths, the more they grow. Imagine that you are growing a garden, and strengths are those very precious and beautiful flowers. Like flowers, they need water, soil, and light to grow. Our strengths need to be nurtured by our attention and consistent intentional practice. The more you practice them, the more your confidence grows. Step 2. Don't dwell too much on your weaknesses. As a heart-centered and compassionate leader, do you have the tendency to focus on what is not working? Do you turn inward, overanalyze yourself, and then get stuck each time something goes wrong, instead of bouncing back quickly and moving forward? It can be very self-defeating, and you can lose perspective in those moments. You might blame yourself and think, it's all my fault. Generally, Self-awareness and taking personal responsibility are excellent qualities, but do not overdo it. Self-analyzing yourself to the point where you're constantly asking yourself, "What's wrong with me?" is very damaging and not helpful self-awareness. In fact, it's not even self-awareness, it's self-judgment. Think of self-judgment as a shovel constantly digging at yourself until you're at the bottom of that pit of self-doubt and self-criticism. Instead, refocus on what's right with you. And believe me, there is always more right with you than wrong with you. Approach the situation with a growth mindset. Don't ask yourself, "What's wrong with me?" Let yourself know, "I'm not there yet." You have the power to change the outcome by relying on your strengths. There'll always be areas for growth and development. The good news is that heart-centered and compassionate leaders are lifelong learners. Stop blaming yourself. Leverage your strengths to create a different outcome, and make sure to celebrate small successes along the way. Step 3. Work on a realistic, balanced sense of self. Recognize the unhelpful and unrealistic image that you have of yourself. At times, it's difficult to discern between who we desire to be and a fantasy. Remember, fantasies aren't grounded in reality. You might think that you are a hybrid of a superwoman, Barbie, Mother Teresa, and whichever vision of perfection is out there. This person is never tired, never sick, never upset, always happy and always on top of everything. This person doesn't exist, but this image pops up every time we make a mistake. What happens? We compare ourselves to this hybrid vision of perfection and dig a hole back to that pit of self-doubt. This undermines our confidence. No one is perfect, especially when compared to a fantasy. It's time to start recognizing these unhelpful thinking patterns and get to know this comparison habit really well. Instead of falling into a hole of self-doubt, build your confidence by creating an image of yourself that's both realistic and inspiring. Now I'm curious, what's your vision of perfection? Post in the comments if you'd like me to create a separate video about creating a working relationship with that unrealistic image of yourself. Next step, surround yourself with the people who champion you. Contrary to the popular opinion of self-reliance and self-efficacy, humans are social beings. Social connections are important, and your close circle of relationships in your life have a great impact on your well-being. Do you have a team of people who have your best interests at heart? If yes, keep nurturing these relationships and developing these connections. If not, it's time to develop a strategy to build your team. It will take time, but it's totally worth it. Now, how do you know if you have the right people in your life? Say you want to start a business, leave toxic relationship, or quit your job where you're not developing or grow any longer. Will they critique you, dismiss your feelings, or respond based on their own agenda? True friends who support you will listen, ask questions to help you gain clarity, and support your choices. Your team will always have your back. These relationships are precious and give you the safety net that you need, especially in the times of transition. It's perfectly okay and healthy to rely on trustworthy people for support. Step 5. Learn to receive, starting with receiving positive feedback. This step is connected to the previous one, but keep in mind that you'll have your team when and if you are ready to receive them. That being said, as a heart-centered and compassionate leader, you are very good at giving and at times overgiving. This leads to resentment and burnout from exhaustion and overextending yourself. It's time to learn how to receive. Start with receiving positive feedback. If someone acknowledges you, your work, or your effort, do you dismiss it? Maybe you say it's luck or other people. If you have this tendency, stop in those moments and just say thank you. Breathe in, breathe out, and notice what happens within yourself. It takes some practice to learn how to receive, and with the time, receiving will feel as effortless as giving. Growing your confidence requires practice and strategies. My goal is to provide you with a roadmap. Once you have clarity, this journey becomes so much easier. Confidence is one of the most important ingredients that make compassionate leaders truly shine. So, these are my 5 confidence tips for heart-centered and compassionate leaders. If you are interested in learning more about leverage strategies for leaders in the areas of self-regard, assertiveness, emotional intelligence, and stress management, sign up for my free 1-hour training, How to Succeed as an Overgiver Without Becoming Resentful or Losing the Passion for Your Work. You can do that by clicking on the link in the description or go to my website EXECUTIVECRAFT.com. If you are in a leadership position and know that you need to develop your confidence, I invite you to connect and book a free one-on-one discovery call with me. Let's dive into specifics. What you're working on, what's working for you, what's not working for you, what are your goals and aspirations, and, most importantly, how to achieve them. We'll assess 5 key areas: your self-regard, stress tolerance, emotion regulation, assertiveness, and influence, to create a customized action plan for each of them. To apply for the call, click on the link in the description or go to executivecraft.com/apply and choose the time in my schedule that works for you. Remember that the work that you are doing is so much needed. Your confidence is the magic ingredient that allows you to make the greatest impact. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like and share it with other heart-centered leaders. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. Stay safe, be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.